The story begins with the demon god completely disintegrating, while our protagonist and a young elf girl observe this event. When all this ends and finally the sky becomes completely clear, Furia thanks Sunraku for defeating the beast and for ending this nightmare. She admits to the boy that the trip there was very long and difficult for both of them. The boy responds that that is true and also adds that he had been waiting a long time for this moment, and in one jump he kicks the girl in the face and also sends her to hell along with the final boss for making their adventure a punishment. After all this, the boy celebrates with great joy for having finished the game and also for finally being able to take revenge on the girl who was a great annoyance and made his life miserable throughout the adventure. After this, we are explained that the boy is a great fan of so-called garbage games, which he first finishes and then classifies them into different categories according to his criteria in his large personal collection. After this, the boy goes down to the living room to have something delicious for breakfast, and while he finishes getting ready to go to school, he tells his mother, who seems to be a great collector of insects, that a butterfly escaped from its cage. She thanks him and the boy leaves. Already at the school, Sunraku walks through the corridors. Meanwhile, later on, a girl who seems to be in love with him imagines a conversation to be able to talk to the boy, but it is of no use to him because she loses her chance when Sunraku crosses in front of her and is intercepted by a friend of the protagonist, whom she tells as they walk that she is done playing that trash game. Later, the girl named Rei arrives at the video game store with the intention of crossing Sunraku, but Mana tells her that it is not her lucky day again. Rei tells her that she only came to see the games, but the woman tells her that he doesn't have to pretend with her. Mana tells her that the boy has been busy playing trash games lately, and as they continue talking about this, Sunraku enters the store asking if she has any new trash games for him, causing Rei to hide around the corners. Nervous, Mana, seeing Sunraku, asks him if he is done with the Furia game. He happily answers yes and tells her how difficult it was to have the elf as a partner who made many mistakes and blamed the demon god, to the point that the boy complained to her about her clumsiness and she got offended and left. The boy's progress stalled for 3 hours, but he endured all of this for just the 3 minutes during the boss destruction and the credits, where you can attack Furia without receiving any penalty, a moment that he took advantage of to release all his accumulated rage and to finally free himself from his sorrows. Mana, upon hearing the boy, recommends that instead of playing a trash game he choose one that is good, like Shangri-La Frontier, which is the most popular at the moment. Back at home, Sunraku reads about the game, learns about its history, the reviews it has, and who created it. All of this convinces him to start a game. Once inside the game, he begins to create his character, and when creating it, he gets excited about the many things you can customize about your avatar. Sunraku chooses to be a boy in underwear and with a bird mask because in his playstyle he prefers to get the best weapons first before armor, so he needs all the money possible for this, and since from the beginning you can sell all your objects, he does it. And to avoid being embarrassed, he decides to use a mask to hide his identity. At first he decides to skip the prologue and appears in the middle of a forest where he begins to test the game's physics and realizes that they are very realistic. When he opens the map, he realizes that he is far from the initial city, so he decides exploring the area before going to the city. While checking his statistics, a goblin attacks him. Sunraku dodges it and summons his swords, and in one move he kills the goblin very easily. When the goblin disappears, he leaves an axe as an item, and as Sunraku checks it out, he notices that something in the bushes is moving, from where a rabbit comes out with a powerful dagger with which it attacks Sunraku, who quickly dodges it. The rabbit launches itself into the attack again but is blocked and hit by Sunraku, who after blocking it again manages to give it a critical hit. Upon defeating it, the boy manages to level up and unlock a new ability. This surprises the boy, who is now excited to try new fighting styles. He is also surprised that he has not found any bugs like in the trash games he knew. Sunraku decides to get the knife that the rabbit to attack him, for that he goes deeper into the forest where he defeats several enemies, levels up and obtains points. He uses his points to increase his luck and have more chances of obtaining better objects when he defeats his enemies. Like the rabbit swords which he had to defeat 50 rabbits to obtain, Sunraka realizes that it is difficult for him to climb more levels by defeating the enemies in that area. So he decides to advance to another, and when checking the map he sees that it is very close to the second city, so he heads towards it. When he reaches a bridge he sees a giant snake protecting him, and the boy has no choice but to defeat it to be able to cross them. So he runs towards the snake with the intention of defeat her. At that same moment in the first town, a powerful warrior with great armor arrives who seems to be looking for someone.